It's 10 o'clock, and you're watching KWTX television. News Channel 10 for Central Texas. This is News Channel 10 tonight. With Lloyd Immel, Rusty Garrett in Weather Center 10, and Jordan Cox on sports.
The Texas drought is taking its toll as grass fires scorch thousands of parched acres all across the state. Good evening and thank you for joining us. From north to central Texas tonight, firefighters are keeping a watchful eye on hot spots. A grass fire in Harker Heights kept 35 firefighters from 8 different units busy for 3 hours. The blaze broke out at the 2900 block of Cedar Knob Road about 4 o'clock this afternoon. Officials say that 1,000 acres of land were damaged in the blaze, but fortunately, no one was hurt, no homes were damaged. Officials are looking for the exact cause of that fire. The scene was the same across the state today in Travis County. Dozens of residents in Manor are now back in their homes after grass fires forced several evacuations. Over a dozen firefighters battled the blaze that broke out just before 7 o'clock this evening. Over 1,000 acres of land in eastern Travis County were damaged. Officials say they don't know what caused the fire, but they will monitor the land all night to make sure that there are no hot spots that might rekindle. And north of Travis County, near Fort Worth, traffic is flowing along a major highway after a grass fire forced officials to close the road. A massive fire burned along Highway 67 between Cleburne and Glen Rose. Officials say the blaze may have been started by someone who threw a cigarette out of a car window. There were no reported injuries. The flames destroyed at least 6,000 acres out of it. And a string of grass fires burned in southwest Tarrant County, just south of Benbrook Lake. Thick smoke filled the air from 7 or 8 separate fires that stretched as far as 5 miles along the Burlington Northern Railroad tracks. Fire officials say a spark from a passing train could have started that blaze. A 53-year-old Belton truck driver is recovering tonight after a train collided with his truck. That accident happened just after 6 o'clock this evening. Harker Heights officials say that a train collided with an 18-wheeler at Jackrabbit Flats Road near the US 190 feeder road. Nearby residents said that they heard a loud bang when the train hit the truck, but say they did not hear the train's whistle blow before the impact.
He didn't know what happened. He kept on saying he didn't hear the train. The train never, when we're sitting over there, we can hear when the whistle's blowing and everything, and the train never blew its whistle or anything.
The driver of the truck is in stable condition tonight at Metroplex Hospital. Officials are investigating the exact cause of the accident. 2 men are behind bars tonight, charged in connection with a weekend murder near Waco. Roger Wayne Gandy's body was found last Saturday with shotgun wounds in his head and neck. Jason Crum was arrested and charged with capital murder in the case. Earlier today, Mohammed Youssef was charged with the same crime. Authorities believe that robbery was the motive behind the murder. Meanwhile, in a Waco courtroom, there was shocking testimony today in the trial of a Central Texas mother charged in the sexual molestation of her 5-year-old son. Well, he was then 5 years old. Today, prosecutors claim that Sylvania Lorene Glenn made her young son engage in oral and other sexual acts with her. The boy told jurors that 3 of her mother's male friends also made him perform sexual acts on him. 2 of the men in question are currently in prison. The trial will resume again tomorrow morning. The prosecution is expected to call 2 or 3 witnesses before arresting its case. And a Florida teenager may never see her parents again, but she says that's okay with her. Today, a judge ruled that Kimberly Mays could legally divorce her parents. The case sparked national attention because of its unusual origin. Mays was switched at birth with another baby girl and raised by Robert Mays. Years later, her birth parents discovered what had happened and then filed for custody of Kimberly. The 14-year-old has said repeatedly that she doesn't want to have anything to do with her biological family. And today, a judge ruled in her favor and affirmed that Mays is her legal father. The birth parents, Ernest and Regina Twigg, say that they plan to appeal the case. And still ahead, a substantial settlement is reached to end the war in Bosnia. Also, SDI and possible deception that helped keep the defense program alive. Details after this. More questions tonight about the controversial Reagan-era Strategic Defense Initiative, or Star Wars. The New York Times reporting a 1984 test on the system was rigged, misleading the Cold War enemy Soviet Union and the U.S. Congress that Star Wars could work. The deception was used, the report says, so that the Soviet Union would be persuaded to spend billions in a counter-effort. It could also have persuaded Congress to continue appropriations, which, if denied, would have killed the project. Arkansas Senator David Pryor, an outspoken critic of Star Wars, has formally requested a General Accounting Office investigation and wants Defense Secretary Les Aspin to look into the Pentagon's role.
We appropriated $30 billion for a system that was not working, and we were not being given the straight factual information by our own Pentagon at that time.
Allegations of less than complete candor in developing military weapons is nothing new to Washington, but this adds one more chapter to an already controversial project on which the United States is still spending money. Leaders of the three warring factions in Bosnia have cleared a hurdle in their efforts to reach a peaceful settlement. Today, the leaders agreed to place control of Sarajevo in the hands of the United Nations. Serbs, Muslims, and Croats have been fighting to dominate the capital city. Tonight, a spokesman for the peace conference underway in Geneva says that the issue of Sarajevo has been settled, an effort, he says, that will allow for an overall peace settlement. UN control of Sarajevo will reportedly last up to 2 years. The warring factions still have to agree on borders for dividing Bosnia into 3 ethnic states. Here at home, violence in Texas schools will not be tolerated. The Texas Federation of Teachers wants school boards across the state to adopt a no-tolerance policy. The policy would declare that violence is not acceptable under any circumstances. Students who assault each other or other teachers would be removed from school permanently and placed in high-security settings. Campaigning in Killeen today, the president of the Killeen Federation of Teachers defended the TFT's strict policy.
If college-educated professionals feel unsafe, what do our babies, what do the kids feel like? What do the students feel like? And I'm telling you, when they run the gauntlet of the hallway and the playground, and they're intimidated, when they're harassed, when they're attacked, when they're stabbed, when they're beaten, when they're bitten, I'm telling you that that's enough. How many kids have to be hurt before we intervene? And I'm telling you the answer is 0.
The campaign is in response in part to a survey by the TFT that showed that most teachers across the state perceive a significant problem in their schools with disruptive student behavior. Killeen police continue to search for a Central Texas murder suspect. Sergeant Michael Dehart has details on this week's Crime Stoppers.
This week, Killeen Crime Stoppers and News Channel 10 will bring you the second installment of Texas 10 Most Wanted in conjunction with the Governor's Fugitive Squad and Texas State Crime Stoppers. Every one of these 10 men is violent and extremely dangerous. Their crimes are primarily murder, sex crimes, and aggravated robbery. All are parole violators. These men are considered armed and willing to use weapons to remain at large. You should not attempt to detain or approach any of these men. If you have any knowledge of any of these fugitives, please contact Crime Stoppers immediately. You'll get $1,000 in cash if your call results in the arrest of one of these fugitives. Texas State Crime Stoppers can be reached at 1-800-252-TIPS and Killeen Crime Stoppers at 526-TIPS or 1-800-729-TIPS. Remember, when you call Crime Stoppers, no one will ask for your name, and your reward is paid in cash.
We'll have more news for you in just a minute. Stay with us.